Coming up on the Geno Auriemma Show, presented by UConn Health.
The reason why we've been able to do what we've been able to do is because we know the difference between when it's time to screw around and have fun and act like a 12-year-old and when it's time to get to work.
Is the 11-time champion still learning how to coach?
I don't think there's any time when you're doing any kind of job that you're not learning how to get better. Snap the ball, don't lob it, snap it.
And what others can learn from him.
Don't try to copy anybody. Don't try to be like me or anybody else.
Also, we get inside the coach's head in Geno On.
The reason we appear to be great motivators is we recruit highly motivated kids.
And an all-access peek at Geno Wired.
Good luck,
congratulations.
Man.
Congratulations.
You guys keep playing that hard, man. You're going to win a lot of games.
I'm going to try. Congratulations on the history, baby.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All that and more on the Geno Auriemma Show, presented by UConn Health. We want to take this show to talk about coaching.
What kind of coaching?
After all this time and success, Geno, are you still learning how to coach?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any time when you're doing any kind of job that you're not learning or trying to learn how to get better. You know, you're always asking your players to get better. You know, you're always working to improve their skills, get smarter, become a better shooter, whatever the case may be. Snap the ball, don't lob it, snap it. We always say to our kids, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. There's no such thing as staying the same. Nothing in life stays the same. It's either moving this way or it's moving that way. So I think you got to do the same way as a coach. You should always know where your guy is. There's never any screw-ups. So it should never be who's blocking that guy out, who's blocking that guy. You should always know who your blockout guy is. Okay? Try to get a bucket, White. Let's go. Go!
In the past, what coaches did you seek out and learn from?
I've never been one to want to or try to emulate other coaches in how they do things or what their approach is. I do like to know about what goes on a lot of times behind the scenes, you know, so sometimes you do have to go there, you know, whether it's go to Chicago. You know, I've kind of become more interested in how the pros do things.
You mentioned spending some time in Chicago. We know you visited the Bulls in their heyday. What can you tell us about the triangle offense, what you learned from that?
The first thing I remember was how similar it was to what was prevalent back in the day when I was growing up in the game of basketball. Tex Winter, who was Phil Jackson's assistant, you know, he was a long-time college coach, and he did that stuff in the late 50s, 60s. So that's as old as basketball, that stuff. So we started doing it with our team when we had Rebecca and Jen and Jamel and, you know, those guys. And I wanted to try it, but I wanted to try it in the way I saw it. And the reason I went to Chicago was there's got to be some other things that I don't see in this. And I'd like to know what they are. And, you know, when I went up there, it wasn't like anything major, but it was like a couple subtle little things, you know. And, you know, sitting down and watching on film with them and then watching some things on the court, you go, you know, that one little thing that they do that we don't, because I didn't know about it, that could really change things for us. And you know what? It did.
We talked a lot about basketball. What about coaches of other sports? Do you look to them for inspiration, maybe the Bill Belichick's of the world?
The common theme behind coaches who are very, very, very successful is their ability to interact with their players in a way that their players truly understand and truly believe that what we're going to do is going to help us win, is going to help us be successful. And the coaches are able to communicate that to their players. And then having good players, obviously. I mean, I could talk all I want to some players, and it's not going to get any better. So it's having the right players, obviously, but then putting the players in the right situations. It's like a great jockey, you know, and you're riding a great horse. Well, you know what your job is? Put that horse in the absolute perfect position on that track to win that race. If you do that, then the horse has got to do the rest. But if you put that horse in a bad spot and he or she can't get out of that problem, that's not the horse's fault. So as a coach, I always think, look, I just want to make sure my guys are in the right spot.
Okay, remember, when we go X, we'll start here, start real wide, okay? And then when we make our pass to our post player, okay, this guy's got to hold it until that guy gets to right here.
Line them up perfectly. Get them to do what they're great at. Don't put this kid who can't do this in that spot. Put them here, where they can be very, very good at that spot. Don't have your team playing this defense when you know they can't do it.
Whenever there's a guy out here, we're going to be here because you know this guy, that's where they're going to pass it. If they shoot it, I don't care. There's a guy guarding them already.
So it's just about, and every great coach that I've ever seen who has really good players knows exactly how to do that.
If you could coach another sport, what would it be?
I have two. One, track. Run as hard as you can, stay to the left, and hurry up back. All right, see you guys when you get back.
There's got to be a little bit more
That
finesse.
would be, oh, I know, but that would be my instruction to the track guys, provided I recruited the fastest guys, you know. Stay to the left, run as hard as you can, hurry up back.
Second sport,
Golf.
what would your advice be there?
Dudes, get the ball in the hole. I'll be behind you playing 9 holes right behind you. Don't hold me up.
Want to find out more about your Yukon Huskies?
Definitely.
Go to sny.tv/Yukon for an inside look.
I'm kind of a little bit of a nerd, and she's okay with it. Oh my gosh.
We'll be back with more of the Geno Auriemma Show.
Where's your man? Where's your man? Where's the ball? Keep your head moving.
Motivating people that are anxious to be motivated is way different than motivating people who are unmotivated themselves. So the trick is to surround your team with people that just need a little oomph. We can help those kids. Those that, no matter how much you push, go like that. Well, nobody's good at motivating those guys. So for us, the reason we appear to be great motivators is we recruit highly motivated kids. When you're trying to build a program, you really can't be that picky and that choosy and that selective. And you're going to have some issues. And then as your program starts to get established, then you start to be able to attract a certain kind of player, certain kind of kid. Then you can be more selective and be more critical in who you take. And you can say, that kid, man, they got something, you know? And you try to stay away from the ones that just look like, man, this is going to be a struggle. That kid will have to go somewhere else where that coach really needs that talent. And then, I hope I can motivate this kid. You know, we're not in the process of, I hope I can motivate this kid. We're beyond that.
When it comes to life outside of coaching, is there something you bring from coaching that you use in your life?
It's probably the other way around. You take real life and bring it to your coaching more times than not. But no, when I'm not on the court or when I'm not into coaching mode, I don't want to be in coaching mode off the court. Like, I don't want to be in charge of anything off the court.
You're off the clock.
You know, people think they're like, oh, you're this incredibly competitive guy, you know, that you take that coach's competitiveness. And a lot of people do that to everything you do. You could care less. How many games we have? 39? Well, if you play that many, sometimes 40. One time it was 40. Okay, how many times do you want to be competitive? 40. That's it. The rest of the time, I could care less. And I don't need to be in charge of anything when I'm not coaching. I don't need to be running this group or that group or, you know, organizing this and organizing that. Just tell me where to be, when, and I'll be there.
Simple.
You can't control everything. I don't feel this need to, like, do that.
Coaching-wise, where do you draw inspiration from? You hear stories of coaches going to ballets and modeling their offense off of events like that.
I like to take them to shows. I like to take them to a show. Let them sit there and watch people perform on the stage so that I can say to them, see that? That's a pro. Why? Because, and I've said this before, they did it yesterday for a different crowd. They did it the day before for a different crowd. They're doing it today for you, and they're going to do it tomorrow for a different crowd. And they're going to do that every day, twice on Saturdays. And they make it look like it's the first time they did it. And they make it look flawless. That's what your goal is. If you could ever look like that, if you could ever take that much pride in what you do, that these people take in what they do, be amazing. So yeah, there's a lot of places. You know, we talk about basketball, our basketball team being like a jazz band. Yeah, there's 4 or 5 people playing. And when you listen to it, it sounds really cool, like everything's in harmony, right? You know, the drummer's doing this, the sax is doing that, the piano guy's doing this. You know, and everybody's kind of like, yeah, we're all flowing. Yeah, this is really cool. And then all of a sudden, one guy would just take off. And they become the focal point for like what, 30 seconds, a minute, who knows? They're doing their thing. And the other guys are like in the background. And then boom, it all comes together again. And then another guy takes off. Maybe it's the piano player this time. So everybody gets to be up front and be a star, but always within the context of, hey guys, this is what we're trying to do here as a group. So I use a lot of that kind of stuff. It's weird, and sometimes they look at me like, what the hell is that guy? But I don't care.
It'll all come together for them.
When they have children and they come back to me, you know, remember when you told me about that jazz band? You know, I was at a concert. I just got it last year. Thanks, no problem.
Generally, when do coaching ideas strike you?
It could come anytime. I mean, it could come anytime. I've also told this before. I was watching a high school game one time and I went, whoa, I like that. I went back and tweaked it a little bit and it was fun. So it could be anytime. As I said, it could be anything, anywhere. I'm always on the lookout for like what looks like that might be important. You know, like I might read something in a book that happened, I don't know, years ago, and I'll go, wait a minute. I think we're going through something like that right now. Could be anywhere. The reason why we've been able to do what we've been able to do is because we know the difference between when it's time to screw around and have fun and act like a 12-year-old and when it's time to get to work.
Hey, let's go guard the inbounder. Guard the inbounder. Get a hand up, get a hand up. Hey, let's get some early drags, right? Early.
Collier in deep, turnaround is good.
Hey, you guys, when we run interchange, look for Lou.
Samuelson for 3. What a start for UConn.
So when we hit Gabby, you screen and you got to go, and we see if we can get that. If we don't, we're going to run dive.
Williams, nice pass to Collier for 2.
There's that extra pass.
Be active. Higher, Lou. Get it out of the middle. Keep it out of the middle.
Nurse Chong, Nurse, beautiful. Final seconds tick away. 88-48, the final in Dallas.
Good luck to you guys. Good luck,
Congratulations.
man.
Congratulations.
You guys keep playing that hard, man. You're going to win a lot of games.
I'm going to try. Congratulations on the history, baby.
Thanks. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We've talked about what you've learned from other coaches. We see other coaches sitting in practice. I've seen them at shoot-arounds. So how often do you have other coaches come in and sit in and learn from you?
That depends on the time of year. So, for instance, during October, a lot of the high school coaches from around the country, they haven't started practice yet. So we'll get a lot of high school coaches during October and maybe early November. A lot of colleges haven't started practice yet. So we'll get a lot of college coaches in October. And then we'll get a bunch after the season if we're still in the NCAA tournament and they're out or they didn't make the tournament. So it depends on the season, and it's amazing sometimes what they want to know or what they thought they were going to see and what they see. It's really interesting to hear them talk a lot of times.
Well, I can tell you two things I've observed from these practices. One, they never stop moving, ever, for the entire 2 hours. And two, they're very vocal. It's so loud in there. They never stop talking. But what do you think these coaches, what have you heard from those coaches that sit in, that they learned from sitting in on a UConn practice?
Yeah, most of the time I will hear that they're surprised that there's that much talking going on. There's that much noise, good noise, that there's a lot of communicating back and forth between coaches, players, especially players and players. And that's something that I think, again, majority of good programs at any level, there's a lot of talk, it's a loud gym. Our coaches for 100 years have a great expression. A quiet gym is a loser's gym. So yeah, that and the pace, like you said. Not just nonstop, but at the pace that we're going. And coaches are kind of taken back by that, because to be able to maintain that pace for that long without stopping, that's something that other coaches have a difficult time getting their players to do.
And how guarded are you when sharing with other coaches, and because they're your competitors, especially other college coaches? Because I know you're friends with a lot of them.
Not at all. Whatever they want, they can have it. It doesn't matter to me.
What about an AAC coach, maybe a younger?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And it could be anybody. I mean, look, here's the way I look at it. Two things can happen. One, you come watch us practice and you go, wow, I love that. I'm going to try it because I think it works for me. And then they go back, they incorporate some aspect, either some concept or something that we do, and it helps their team be better. That's great. I mean, that's part of what we should do to make everybody better, right? Somebody you compete against, somebody you're playing against, a rival or a friend, whatever. They come in and watch practice 2-3 days. Okay. Well, let's say you're a doctor and you go watch somebody do heart surgery or brain surgery for 3 days. That doesn't mean you're going home and going, hey, I got that. No, you don't. You just saw something. You know what happened at the end. And you know what they did. But you have no idea how to do it.
For a young coach out there watching this, what's the best advice you can give them?
Don't try to copy anybody. Don't try to be like me or anybody else.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
You can study and you can go and observe and you can learn and watch and all those things, which you should do. But in the end, you got to be yourself. You can't come to watch my practice, since we're talking about us, and then go back to your team and go, well, Geno did this, so I'm going to do it. And your kids look at you like, yeah, well, I ain't Stewie. You know, so what do you, or that doesn't work because that's not who you are. That's not your personality. That's not your team. That it's not going to work. So the big thing is don't try to be something you're not. And don't try to do something if you don't completely understand it. Don't like get it, and I know a lot of coaches like this, believe me. They'll see something, they think they have it, then they start doing it with their team, and all they do is screw up their team. Then next year, they try something else, they think they understand it. And then when the players start to go, well, coach, when this happens and this happens, what do I do then? And the coach says, and then they make something up and the kids go, she's lying, or he's lying. So you don't ever want to be in a position where if you don't understand it completely and it's in your being, don't try it, because it won't work. You'll only get that much of it and you'll ruin your kids down the road. And that's what I've never tried to do something that I didn't already feel. You know, like there's guys who, like, you know, there's guys who play the piano, and then there's guys that were born a pianist.
You were born a coach.
I don't know if I was born a coach, but I know what I know. And what I know comes from in here. And nobody has to tell me. And I don't have to pretend I know it. I know what I know. And I know what I can get across. More importantly, I know what I don't know. And I don't try to do it. So to me, knowing what you don't know is maybe even more important than what you do know.
That's going to do it for us this week. We hope you enjoyed the Geno Auriemma Show presented by UConn Health. For upcoming show dates and times, make sure to check out sny.tv/UConn. Thanks for watching.